Hello YouTube, Joshua C here. In this video I'm going to show you how to disassemble, reassemble a Matco 88 Tooth Ratchet. So let's begin. The tools you're going to need for this job are a set of snap ring pliers. This is going to gain access to the ratchet head, and a 4mm or 5/32 Allen key. And this is to remove the joint screw here. Okay, so for the first part, I'm going to be focusing my attention on the ratchet head. What you're going to do is take your appropriate snap ring pliers, and you're going to clamp those two ends together and remove the ring itself. Just like so. Once you have that, you could pull on this anvil to remove the cover plate and the gear. Just like this. Here you can see. I'm going to place this off to the side, and this is what you're left with. Here you can see you have the reverse and forward lever. So the selector switch, you have a spring and a plunger, and you have the pawl itself. So I'm going to remove these components one by one. So here's the pawl, so pay attention to the orientation. This is the side that faces you, and this is the side that faces the inside wall of the gearbox. There's the plunger and the spring. This provides a positive pressure on the pawl and to the gear itself, and this will be removed from the other side, just like so. So you want to pull out, and then push down, and it'll rock out. Okay? There it is. Those are the components. So now I'm going to reassemble. Simply rock this back in. Make sure it has the seal. To install the spring and plunger again. So this just fits in the provided slot. Just like so. Put the pawl in. Install the gear. Like that. And the cover plate. As you can see, it's not that difficult. You guys can do this. And then the last step is to install the snap ring. Okay, to install the snap ring, you pinch it. Oops. To install the snap ring, you pinch, and then you provide a positive down pressure, just like so. When installing the snap ring, make sure that the ends are inside the slotted provisions found in the housing of the head. Don't do like I did on the first attempt. Okay, so now that it's all back together, please verify that the ratchet is functioning in both directions. Move it around. Just a careful note on these Matcos, they're very sensitive to excessive amounts of lube or a thick lubricant. So if you're running like a thick grease, like an axle grease or something, just be mindful of just to be on the thinner side, as to not make it hang up or act funky. Alright, now let's move on to part 2. Okay, in part 2 now, I'm going to show you the separation of this joint by the removal of this screw, how to remove the lock assembly and the spring, and how to reassemble it. So let's begin. You're going to start by removing this 4mm fastener or 5/32 inch Allen hex. Okay, so after removing the screw, you're going to pull apart the head. I'm going to have to give a word of caution that you take your time, because these parts are sprung. But here you guys, these are all the components laid out, so you guys can study it. Let me turn on the light. So here we have the lock washer stored in the head. We have the actual lock assembly. We have a ball bearing that lies between, the frame and the lock assembly in a spring, and that's what keeps the ball pressed on the detent, so when you're locking and unlocking. So you guys could remove this just like that, and you could replace this part and service as needed. Now, just a quick tip, I use a thick axle grease, and that's what's helped keeping this all together when reassembling, because these ball bearings could be a pain in the you know what. So let's put it back together. It's literally the reverse of us disassembly, and we get it back together. And once you have the head locked on, it's just a matter of aligning this hole and sticking the fastener through and tightening. Just to go back a little bit, a quick tip for getting the actual head onto the lower portion is to have this lock washer indexed in such a way that it is the last thing that goes on. So you want it to make it form a ramp. So you want the split end to be where, however you want to push it on, to be the last portion of the washer to actually recess into the clearance. All right. If not, you'll actually have this ring, the ring end or the open end, get jammed in between this the screw hole, and you'll actually, it's just going to be a big mess. So just another tip for that. And also another note is to make sure that the lever is on the unlock position. Be mindful that the ball bearing is still trapped between this lock and the spring, the captured spring in there. And let's tighten up this fastener. Now you want to snug up this joint screw according to your taste on how stiff you want this joint to be. After you do that, obviously you want to verify the function of the lock, and if it all checks out, you're good to go, you're done. So hopefully this tutorial helped out. If you guys found it useful, give me a like, comment, subscribe, and you all take care.